In a land where cacti outnumber cell towers and the horizon stretches further than a fiber optic cable, it's time for Valley's Bits, Bytes and Banter, the podcast that looks a bit behind the scenes of a broadband provider, takes a big bite out of the tech world, and serves up a healthy dose of banter with people in our community. And now, without further ado, here's your host, Bob Dahlstrom.
Hey everybody, this is Bob Dahlstrom along with my partner in crime, Ralph Score, and we're here for another episode of Bits, Bytes, and Banter, our podcast where we talk a little bit about tech, we talk a little bit about what's going on in our industry, and maybe even at Valley.
Yeah.
And we feature an interesting person in our community. And we have another one here.
Interesting.
Is this our first returning guest?
This is
our first returning guest. Oh, look at that.
We're actually going to bring him in for part of this on the Spurious
This
Facts.
will be great. Yeah. This will be great. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And, you can find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're hosted on Podbean. Go to podbean.com. You can search Valley's Bits with an apostrophe S to easily find us. We're also on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever else you want to get them. On our YouTube channel on vtc.net/blog.
Yep.
Among many other places.
Yeah. We're rocking.
Right. Yeah, and we're excited to have our guest back on today because we are going to be talking local sports with our resident expert and our friend, Lee Patterson.
He's our favorite sports guy.
We will. Yeah. Lee, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
We're doing great. We're bringing you in, on the very first segment of this.
Sorry, I was
totally changing.
I was still napping. I'm ready now, though.
You were posting it online to all your listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a little bit more.
He's a little bit up there.
A little bit more.
How's that?
That's mucho
okay, we're
better.
Right there.
Yes.
I can always blow your eardrums out with this.
I work in radio. It's going to take a lot.
Yeah. Too late, Ralph. I've already done that.
That's right.
All right. You have some interesting facts and trivia for us, don't you, Ralph?
The first thing, I got some information that came down from the Foundation for Rural Service. They released an Understanding Childcare Challenges in Rural America finding right now. They're recognizing the lack of affordable and available childcare as a national economic challenge that impacts families, businesses, and communities across the country. Understanding that the childcare challenges in rural America provides strategic recommendations and an action framework to address childcare shortages and affordability issues. And I know anybody who's a parent who, the cost of childcare has gone up just like everything else has.
Right.
And if you're a working mom or a dad, and what do you do? What do you do? How do you make it meet?
Yeah, a lot of people look for supplemental income, especially if they're working from home.
Yeah.
You can maybe do that a little bit.
Yeah.
And even, sometimes you're working from home, you do need little childcare while you work.
Unless you're on YouTube and then the kid can dance around behind you on the screen.
Then he is your work.
Yeah. But they're saying on here, it's like we can no longer think about childcare as an issue that impacts only women, right? Because there are a lot of fathers who get affected by this too. So,
all right, especially now with the hybrid work schedules, many people work from home, like I said, and I can imagine that would be a real issue right now, especially.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just something that just came out down the line, and so we're going to be interested to see how that pans out and everything. And of course, we're involved in the digital equity movement, right? That's one thing that we've really grabbed on. It used to be called digital inclusion, but now it's really digital equity. It's how you level the playing field for people that don't necessarily have good broadband. And we're taking it another step because we're going to include everything beyond broadband as far as technology that people may not be comfortable with. So we're going to start a series of classes that are going to be addressing everything from how to get the best use out of your smartphone to internet safety and a lot of different factors. So,
yeah, it's a big project we're doing starting next year.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing it all through 2025, so people can be looking for information on that.
Yeah.
Where we'll be, what information. I mean, because it's surprising, and maybe not so surprising to some. There's certain generations that struggle a little bit with technology and understanding how it works and how do you use it and what's the latest out there. And that's part of what we're going to tackle in our areas and help out with that, because we've heard that a lot.
And we're sort of taking it from a consumer standpoint. In other words, instead of the high level of what is bandwidth, we want to say how are you using your internet in your home,
right?
How are you getting the most out of it? So
internet safety tips and tricks everybody can use. I mean, there's going to be information for everybody.
Yeah, and we'll actually do live conferences, and we'll do them on YouTube Live, and they'll be recorded as well. So,
there you go.
So anyway, how about a little bit of did you know facts here? And this
here we go.
And we're going to
let's see how much of this you know.
We're going to bring Lee in for this because I got some baseball ones here.
All right.
Oh, okay. He brought some baseball. Yeah, right up Lee's alley.
Okay, Lee, how many minutes of action is there in an average Major League Baseball game?
I don't know.
It's
the number's definitely coming down with the pitch clock. Are going
Thank
up
goodness.
with the pitch clock,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I'm going to guess 20.
18 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, 18 minutes of actual action in an average Major League Baseball game. Okay.
Okay. The rest of it is anticipation.
Now, did you know that there was a Major League catcher who was the first player that was ever traded for himself? I don't know who he played for, but Harry Cheaty. I don't know. It said he was the first player ever traded for himself.
You can hear the wheels turning over here while that going on.
Yeah. So now, did you know that alcohol is considered a performance-enhancing drug in most shooting sports because it calms down your body? Right?
That explains a lot. The Olympics.
Yeah.
Hello.
Bunch of
drinking going on.
Bunch of drunks out there with guns.
I thought that was just in the breakdancing competition.
That's just for courage.
The Australian breakdancer. Now, if Wayne Gretzky had never scored a single goal, did you know that he would still be the NHL's all-time points leader?
I knew that.
I did know that.
I'm a big hockey fan.
With assists alone.
I knew that.
Yeah.
He was the best to play ever.
1,963 assists.
Insane.
From Wayne Gretzky. Right?
Insane.
And boxing was actually illegal in the United States, right? It wasn't until the state of New York legalized it in 1896 with other states following soon. And here's the last baseball one, okay? Did you know that every baseball used in Major League Baseball is dirty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a company that they send them to. It up until, it might still be happening, but up until just recently, it was a mom and pop shop somewhere. They send all their brand new baseballs. They have specific mud that is the same mud, and they rub them all up before they send them to the team. So by the time they get into action, they've been dirty for a while.
I love that. That's just a mom and pop that still do it.
Yeah.
Tradition.
And do you know why? Why is that done? It's to give pitchers a better grip on the ball.
Because
brand new baseballs are slippery.
I was going to say, if you've ever held a brand new one, it's slippery.
Can you imagine if they were playing baseball with slick balls?
Well, they still have a trouble throwing strikes.
Yeah. Just
You're
a
not
little bit,
wrong.
right?
You're
Just a
not
little
wrong
bit.
on that. And they still try to scuff them up and do whatever. Yeah. Hey, I've got one tech trivia for you. I bet you guys don't know this. And Josh and Jacob, who are here in our audience today. How you guys doing? Josh and Jacob and Cenas, who work for us over at Valley to help us out today. Apple product photos always show the same time on their products. Anybody know what time that is?
10.
And why?
10:10.
I thought it was 11:11.
No, 10:10 is interesting because according to advertising practices, that's what watches do.
Oh,
Apple Watch is the exception to this because for that same reason, it's deemed the most aesthetically pleasing view of a watch is like around 10:10 to sell it.
Interesting.
But this is not that. Do you know what time and why?
I have no
The
idea.
Apple products do. They do it at 9:41. Every one of the products says 9:41. The reason why is when Steve Jobs showed the first iPhone to the world on January 9th, 2007, it was precisely 9:41 local time.
Wow. I was going to say, it
did you know that?
Couldn't be his birthday.
You knew why.
know?
Jacob knew that. And he knew why. But it's 9:41. You go back, even now, you look at all their products, so their phones, tablets, laptops, desktops are all 9:41.
You just ruined my whole viewing experience for Apple products. I can go.
With the one exception is the watch. Because like I said, advertising practices, 10:10, 10-ish for all watches is the most aesthetically pleasing.
I wonder if that's because it's about the time people take their coffee break.
Could be. Speaking of breaks, I think it's time for us to take our first break, and we're going to come back and get into it with Lee Patterson, our special guest today. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, are you playing Fortnite?
Yeah.
Let's go, man. I'm gonna beat you so bad.
You know I could go pro if I wanted to. You do not stand a chance. Besides, we always just play against each other.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to find more people to play with.
Hey, Valley Telecom has the Fiber Gaming Network, an online community where we can compete in tournaments and win real prizes, or just meet new gamers and participate in casual game nights.
Whoa, that's so cool. But how much does it cost?
It's actually free. Valley Telecom is providing this to their community at no charge. We just go to vtc.net/gaming and sign up.
Wow, that's so awesome. Now I can show everyone I'm the best.
Get in the game with a Fiber Gaming Network powered by Valley Telecom. Go to vtc.net/gaming to sign up today.
Welcome back to this episode of Bits, Bytes, and Banter. I'm Bob Dahlstrom with my co-host Ralph Score. And yeah, the little commercial there was a little shout out to the Fiber Gaming Network, a product we are very proud to be a part of.
Yeah.
And if you're a gamer out there, you like to game online, check it out, fibergamingnetwork.com. Or if you want to know more about, read the FAQs, watch videos, how you sign up, go to vtc.net/gaming.
Yeah.
And that spot was courtesy of Josh and Jacob. Right,
Yeah.
they're right here, right now.
Yeah,
that's their voices we hear in that ad.
And they wrote it.
And they wrote it,
And
helped us produce it.
And they recorded the sound effects.
Yes, they did. Yeah, the sound effects. See,
Yeah, it all made it.
very talented guys right
Combination
here
of
with
button
us.
mashing and Fortnite going on, baby. You know,
All the fun, the fun.
That's right.
Oh man! All right, so now everybody's still thinking about the Apple product photos. Let's get into this. Let's talk to our guest today, and to remind everybody, he's the owner of LDP Production, which is a voiceover production service. He's an advertising, sales, and sports director for Double R Communications, which is the source for all things local sports. And then some. He's also one of the directors on the Southern Arizona Sports, Tourism, and Film Authority Board. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Lee Patterson. Lee, how you doing, man? There we go. Yay, everybody. Woo, 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 woo.
I
Give
made
it up
my
for
own
Lee.
sound effects too.
Appreciate that. Thanks for bringing that.
Hey, thanks for having me.
That's going to cost us money for that.
Oh, the cricket. That's even better, Ralph.
The crickets. Yeah, thank you for the crickets, Ralph. Even better. Even better.
I wanted to use that for so long.
You're welcome.
All right, Lee. One of the reasons we talked to you, you're a fountain of knowledge when it comes to local high school
I'm putting
sports.
that on my business card.
I'd put in a quote. Put it as a review. That's your Google review right there. It's a
Fountain of knowledge.
5 stars. We know we're getting towards the end of high school football season. I mean, we're in the playoffs right now.
Right.
A couple local teams still in it. And we're talking Thatcher and Pima in this area. Of course, Bisbee, Southern Arizona, is still in there too in 2A. So what are you seeing right now? I mean, who do you think in the 2A, 3A are looking like Mike all the way? I mean, we've already had the first round.
Right. The first round is over, and there was in 2A there was one upset, I would say, in 2A. Scottsdale Christian beat Santa Cruz in a 12-5 matchup, but Scottsdale Christian wasn't the 12 seed. They're a top 5 team in the state. All their losses came to 3A teams this year.
Which cost them in the rankings.
I saw them against Pima earlier this year, and I knew that whoever drew them in the first round was going to be in trouble. Just happened to be Santa Cruz. So they are playing the 13 seed, Veritas Prep, who beat Phoenix Christian in the first round. So there is a 12-13 matchup in the second round, but everything else went chalk in the first. Yeah. So it was the high seeds coming away with it in the 2A. Two upsets in 3A. Paradise Honors beat Mojave, and Round Valley went over and beat River Valley. So both Bullhead City area teams got eliminated in the same building on the same night because they play in a field house over there, and they played a doubleheader. So, we've got, like you said, Bisbee still in it, and they actually play Pima this week.
At
Pima, and that will be a first meeting this year. And Thatcher has the Florence Gophers in the second round this week at home. So both of those games are still here in the Gila Valley this week. So
is Florence a good team?
Florence is very athletic. They have a quarterback and a running back that are some of the most athletic in the state. So we'll see if that can affect the size and strength of the Pima front, the Thatcher front. So,
and speaking of Thatcher, I mean, it's like tradition with Thatcher. No matter what happens, they always seem to make the playoffs. I mean, you can almost pencil them in every year.
And they play really well in the playoffs. They don't just make the playoffs. If you draw Thatcher in the playoffs, especially in football, you know you're going to be in for the toughest game you've played all year.
Right.
And so that happened last week against Gilbert Christian. Gilbert Christian played Florence tough in the regular season, and last week Thatcher beat Gilbert Christian 56-14. So the answer is I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like both divisions are pretty wide open this year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's some teams that have great records coming into the playoffs, but I call into question their strength of schedule. So we'll see. Some of the teams on the west side of the state rack up 10-0, 11-0 seasons, but then when they come and play in the east side of the state, they struggle. And so we'll see how that ends up playing out for them.
It's funny you mentioned that because I know you're exactly right. Thatcher, I've never seen a high school team so ready for playoff play. I mean, there is
Yeah.
a difference.
No,
When you play in the
100%.
playoffs, and they understand it, they get it. It's rare that they would ever not be past the first round.
No, it's been, I think in my 25 years here, there's only been 2 seasons they didn't qualify.
Right.
And one season they were 7-3 and didn't qualify. So
Yeah, tough
So
look.
that was rough for them. And they lost their first 3 games of the year that year, and then won 7 in a row and didn't get into the playoffs.
Right.
That's a rough.
That's a real rough one.
That's
That is
rough,
rough.
to be maybe have the best winning streak in the state and not get in. But yeah, they really flip a switch in the playoffs. I mean, obviously they don't expect to have a good regular season. They expect to reach the playoffs
Right.
and win a state championship.
Right.
And it's definitely a different culture when they use the regular season to get ready for the playoffs.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, that's the
it's-
difference.
They 100% do. Like
They
they
expect
work
to be
on
in there.
things. They expect they're going to be there at the end, so they're working on things so that when they hit week 1 of the playoffs, they're at full
They're ready,
strength
yeah.
and they've got everything in their arsenal that they need.
Well, I always remember one season, and of course, Wilcox Cowboys fan, where Wilcox was undefeated, number 1 seed. Thatcher barely made it at 5-5. Went to Wilcox and played them and thumped them.
Yeah,
First round of the playoffs, and they went very far that year. I can't remember if they made they made the semis at least.
yeah.
I don't remember if they made the
probably
finals.
was there.
You were probably there.
Yeah.
You probably
Yeah.
were.
So, Lee,
My
I got to
son was
ask you
playing,
too:
actually.
were there any surprises this season that took you as far as teams that you saw or what happened out there?
No, I think as I previewed the season, I went back and looked. That's the good question. I went back and looked at my season previews to see how it played out in the regular season, and to give it 1 or 2 games that went the other way. The overall records were about what I had seen coming into the season. So I don't think anything surprised me this year. I think that one thing in 3A is how wide open it is. I just don't think that there's a team that is going to run away with it. I think whatever teams are in the championship in the 3A is going to be a close game because everybody that's left in the playoffs is pretty evenly matched.
So, which means Thatcher's right there in the mix, as they always are.
They really are. I think I've talked to several of my colleagues around the state, and they all, and here's the weird part, they only see Thatcher in the playoffs, but they've seen Thatcher every single year.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh,
They're
Thatcher's
familiar.
there. I'm going to pick them.
Right.
At one point, I coached baseball at Thatcher many moons ago now, and when we would stop to eat pregame or postgame in the Mesa area, it wasn't, hey, who'd you guys play today? It was, hey, who'd you guys beat today? Because anytime they saw Thatcher in the Arizona Republic, they were winning a state championship in some sport.
Right. They have quite
And-
a reputation.
Right. So it's definitely a different. I mean, until I moved up here, I mean, I played against Thatcher in high school and knew that they were good, but
Right.
then you work in that program and you work with that football program now, and it's just different. Like, I don't know that there's a word for it. It's
Kind of the culture.
yeah, it's a culture.
It's
it
a
really
culture,
is.
yeah.
And I think Pima's getting there. I think Josh Wilkins has done a great job of taking it to the next level the last couple of years. They're going to be in it too at Pima this year. I mean,
Right.
they've got a running back in Jeremiah Martinez who leads all of 2A in rushing this year.
Oh.
He just yesterday I was able to take over the Ed Medallion Award, or the Ed Doherty Medallion that he won this year, to get him into the running for the State Player of the Year. And he's, a 225-pound running back in 2A that can run.
Yeah, he's
and
pretty
so
stout.
he's a pretty good player, and they
Kind of like the Derrick Henry of local.
he
local high
really
school.
that's a very good comparison.
And Ralph dropping those comparisons out there.
Has
like that.
has he knocked anyone out with his thigh? That's all I want to
He
know.
probably could. There was a couple of weeks ago in a game that a defensive tackle was knocked out cold against Pima, and that may be what happened. I mean, it's so hard to tell in a run play, but it was.
Yeah.
I think that's the story we're going with.
I'm fine with it.
So it's wide open, but we got a couple teams here locally that really have a good shot.
Well, and
bringing home titles.
Bisbee is going to give Pima some fits. I mean, obviously, people are probably going to be hearing this after the game's already over, but
Right.
Bisbee's got a quarterback that is very athletic, a dual threat guy that if Pima can't contain, could very well keep Bisbee in the game.
Right. Yeah. They're a great passing attack. If you're not used to that, well, a lot of teams like to run,
Especially at this level, yeah.
Especially at this level, it's hard. It's difficult to find a good passing offense at this level, and yeah, they're one of the ones that are few.
Yeah,
and
I
not
agree.
not just 2A, but in the area.
Right.
Well, let's talk about sports coming up, right? Baseball. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Basketball.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Basketball. Let's talk about basketball a little bit.
Okay.
That's getting ready to start. What are you seeing from local teams on the high school level?
It's a little early still because, and it always is up here because of how late football goes,
Right.
because everybody's in the playoffs. Pima and Thatcher probably won't get their football guys to play basketball until after their first game because of
Right.
the way it crosses over now. But I think everybody's going to be competitive. I don't know. I mean, until they scrimmage Tuesday is the first preseason scrimmages, so we'll know a little bit more. I think everybody's going to be competitive. I haven't had a chance to talk to all the coaches yet because we're still focused on football broadcasts on the station.
Right.
But at the collegiate level, Eastern Arizona College has started, and I've been at several of their games already, and the women are ranked number 10 in the country. The men are ranked number 19. So both of their teams this year are very, very, very competitive on the national level.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what a great story the women's were last year too. Especially, I mean, both teams were phenomenal last year, and the women
Making the Final Four run.
making the Final Four run was a great story
Right.
for them.
And
a
I
great way to
think an
build on
even
that.
better story that we can tie it to locally is Ashlyn Clarkson from Pima High School, who
Right.
plays at Eastern Arizona
Right.
College. She just picked up an offer from the University of Alabama.
Wow.
And the University of California University last night. She went from Pima High School having 0 offers out of high school, but still being one of the best players in the sport.
Right.
Begrudgingly went to Eastern Arizona College and got to play a lot her first year, but had one offer. University of North Texas was her only offer after season 1. Went to the off-season jamborees that the All-Stars get invited to, and now has over 20 Division I offers. And in her last 2 games has gone over 20 rebounds each game.
Wow.
And was 18 and 20 the first night and 16 and 20 the next night. So she's
a real mover and shaker.
the growth of it's a good option for local athletes. I mean, it's
That's exciting because you don't usually see that.
you really
tier.
don't. I mean, it's unfortunate that the since the NIL deals and the transfer portal in Division I college basketball has happened, the high school player going on to the next level has really suffered in every sport.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's no room, because there's every year over 2,500 transfer portal guys in basketball alone. A quarter of them find a home at the Division I level. The rest of them are coming down to JUCO because they don't have to miss a year. They can play at JUCO and then go right back someplace else. So
Right.
those seniors that year at the high school level are having to redshirt or gray shirt at a JUCO just to get a chance to get on the floor. So
Yeah.
that's probably a story for another show, but
we could do a whole show
but
on that.
that really has hurt the high school athlete trying to get to the next level.
Well, I mean, they've really done a great job with their program over there in general.
Yeah.
I mean, the recruiting, international, a lot of players now, and like you said, getting on the national stage doesn't hurt.
No,
I mean, it really helps you get more eyes on you.
When you finish in the top 4 in the country in your sport, they come to you.
Right.
I mean, because that's what everybody playing a sport wants to win whatever the top championship you can win in that sport that
Sure.
you're playing. And so to get to the national tournament, for example, Eastern Arizona Volleyball just Monday night qualified for their national tournament. They're going to Clarksville, Tennessee, to Austin Peay University to play in the national tournament. That's
exciting.
That's huge.
That's
Yeah.
it's
for them.
phenomenal.
I mean,
Yeah.
and so they've been fun to cover this year too, and they have a pretty good shot at winning some games at the national tournament too. So but back to your point, being able to recruit internationally is what helps them play at that level,
Right.
And that's the double-edged sword of JUCO athletics. Do you want to have a program, or do you want to have a winning program?
Right.
Well, I
right.
think that's exactly the mindset they had coming in with the soccer when they started men's and women's soccer in place of the football program, which went by the wayside a few years ago.
Right.
Their soccer is the same thing. They've used the same model, right? They're international. They're very competitive, and they're going to go places. I mean, they really are improving that program quickly.
Yeah, no, the women have played in the district championship first 2 years of their existence.
Right. Guys, we're talking with Lee Patterson here, our special guest today on Bits, Bytes, and Banter. We'll be right back after this break.
The endless options for streaming movies, shows, and sports can be overwhelming. Valley Telecom is here to help with Stream Now, your ultimate online reference for all things streaming. Whether you're a binge watcher or just looking for a quick episode to enjoy, we've got you covered. Discover recommendations, compare platforms, and find the best content for your favorite streaming devices. Stream Now makes it simple to get the most out of your streaming experience. Enjoy the journey of discovering your next favorite show, movie, or live event all in one place. The best part is it's free to use. Unlock the door to endless viewing possibilities by going to gostreamnow.com/VTC today.
And we are back with Bits, Bytes, and Banter. I'm Bob Dahlstrom, your host, along with my partner in crime, Ralph Score. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any ideas, questions, or anything you want us to cover on the podcast, email us. It's easy at podcast@teamvtg.net. And we're talking with our guest today, Lee Patterson. And Lee, let's get into that. We did mention at the break, but also at the top of the show, that you're also one of the directors on the Southern Arizona Sports Tourism Board and at Film Authority, but let's talk sports. And you said you guys had a press conference last night, some big news.
We did. There was a press conference held at Keno Sports Complex yesterday afternoon to announce that the World Baseball Classic 2025 qualifier will be at Keno Sports Complex March 2nd through the 6th, 2025.
That's huge.
And it is big. And that the teams involved will be China, Germany, Brazil, and Colombia. They will be here. The top two of those teams will move into the bracketed World Baseball Classic tournament. So it's a qualifying tournament
Right.
to get in.
Right.
But there's going to be big leaguers. Team Colombia has 5 or 6 big leaguers. Team Germany has a couple of big leaguers that'll play as well. Team China just moved up 6 ranking points since the last rankings in the World Baseball rankings. So there's something shaking there too.
Right.
So it will be big. It's going to be the 2nd through the 6th. And our executive director at the Southern Arizona Sports Tourism and Film Authority, Blake Eager, did a lot of legwork and worked tirelessly to really get all the partners together that needed to be together to get that done. There was 7 other cities in the country that put up their bids, and Tucson won out because they told us, because of the partnerships that we had in our package, that
Really?
other cities didn't. So some private and public partnerships that to get
Right.
that done. So that's going to be big. Tickets are already on sale for that World Baseball Classic game. There's a doubleheader every day. The doubleheader Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then they'll play single games on through the. So the winner of the pool play and then the winner of the championship game will both move on.
Okay. And what are the dates again?
March 2nd through the 6th.
So coming up.
2025.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I mean, tell me there aren't things happening in the sports, Southern Arizona Sports Tourism Board. You guys
that's
got a lot
really a
going on.
regional. That should be a regional boost. I mean,
Right.
because there's going to be some international fans that come over for that wouldn't normally be in Southern Arizona.
Right.
So yeah, the games are being played in Tucson, but as a board and as an authority, we really look at the regional picture, and it's. There's going to be some people reaching out to some of the other counties and tourist organizations in the 6 counties that we represent to get people information from to give to the international fans that are coming in. So in our hopes that they go and visit, the wine tasting down in Wilcox, and go down to Tombstone, and
Right.
go see historic Warren Ballpark in Bisbee. Come up and see Graham County, see Mount Graham in Graham County, and that's the focus behind getting. I mean, there's not another facility in Southern Arizona that could host that event, so it has to be in Tucson.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah, they're well equipped for that.
Right, and so yeah, I think it's going to be a big event for Southern Arizona. And they announced yesterday that because of the partnerships that are happening, that there may be more on the horizon that we'll be able to do in Southern Arizona because of the door that was kicked open this time.
Well, yeah, this could be the catalyst for a lot of other opportunities, right? A lot of things coming. I know, and I just mentioned that real briefly. One of the things, and I know that the Sports Southern Arizona Sports Tourism Board must have had something to do with it, because in that same area is the Mosaic Quarter. That's a huge program coming up. And if you don't know what that is, it's been recently announced. In that area, if you notice, there's even land being cleared right now.
Yeah, they started moving dirt on it.
It's going to be doing phases. First phase is going to be a brand new iceplex for the U of A Wildcat hockey team, along with a big 3 hotels, restaurants, walkways to get across the freeway to both sides of it. It's going to be that big. I mean, it's really pretty massive.
Ultimately, there'll be some field houses for indoor sporting
Parks.
Parks, and Frank Knott is the guy that is doing that, and he did meet with the Southern Arizona Sports Tourism and Film Authority to get the lay of the land, and obviously we're a big supporter of his project. And the best part of it is it's all privately funded.
Oh, you gotta like
that's the other part you got to
You
love.
gotta like that.
There are also other rinks, ice rinks for families to come skate with the kids. I mean, so much is going to be happening there. It's going to change the face of that area,
and that's all right there. I mean, for those of us that live north and east, coming in town on I-10 there, right on Ajo exit there.
Yeah,
And
right
it's
where
really,
they have
and
the
it's really
soccer
about
fields, bro.
time. It's about time that they did something with that besides Keno Park.
It's going to be phenomenal. I remember looking at their prospectus and their plan for that.
When he brought that to the governing board of SAFSA, because I was tired of saying all of it, it was breathtaking. That what he wanted to do there. So, and I'm glad that he was able to get it done. And as of anything with that big project, there's a ton of hurdles to get through and over.
Yeah.
And he was able to do that with the help of some of our some of the SAFSA governing board and our executive director, Blake Eager. So that's a big project going on in Southern Arizona. So
Again, I think when it's regionally, it's going to really pay off.
yeah, no, I think so too.
Man, we could talk about sports all day, but Lee, I think it's time for your question
of the day.
Oh, man. Yeah, the part you're looking forward to the most. We have 8 questions here, Lee. You don't know what those questions are, but you have some control because you picked the number question you would like to be asked.
You said 1 through 8?
1 through 8. So give me a number between 1 and 8.
6.
Number 6. Lee, tell a bizarre 2-minute story about the night you slept in the woods.
The night I slept in the woods. Well, I grew up in Southern Arizona, so there are no woods. I do have a story though. We were camping. My dad and I were camping north of Tucson before it was all houses. There was some camping up in that area, and all we took was a couple of sleeping bags. We're going to sleep on top of a picnic table. And we went out there, and
not a bad idea off the ground.
Right. In the middle of the night, we were visited by a black bear.
Were you really?
We were back before they were there. I don't think they're anywhere close now, but he came in and because we left a dinner out, and he was hungry as well. So that was fun as like an 8-year-old waking up to the sounds of a bear. There was no tent or anything. He was just right there,
right in the open.
Oh, hi there, Mr. Bear. There was no woods though. I mean, that was at the base of probably what is the Push Ridge Mountains now.
The picnic table was the woods.
Yeah, the picnic table was the woods. Yeah, exactly.
The woods of picnic table.
Yeah, that is. It wasn't quite 2 minutes, but there is my bizarre the night I slept in the woods story.
That's a true story.
It is a true story.
It's not just a made-up story. That's a true story.
A made-up story. That is a true story.
You ever been camping in the woods? You ever go?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, broke down in Illinois one time in the middle of the woods.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, were they haunted woods?
They may have been. I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It was probably the same summer now that I think of it. It was when I was around that age. We were on our way to Michigan, and we broke down, and I spent more time staring at the trees than anything. I was like, wow, what are these things?
These tall sticks.
Yeah, what are these tall sticks?
Hey, well, I appreciate you picking the bizarre question. Real quick, before we leave, one of the things you like to do, you have going on as a bucket list for you. Your goal is to see every major league ballpark in the country. And
yes.
And have you set up your trip for this coming season?
I have. We are going the end of April, beginning of May to Boston, both New Yorks.
Fenway.
We're going to Boston, both New Yorks, Philly, Baltimore, and D.C.
Ooh. Oh, man, that's a great tour right there.
That's going to be phenomenal.
And
good baseball,
without
good towns.
renting a vehicle, we're taking Amtrak, public transportation everywhere up and down the Northeast Corridor. So
it's probably smart.
That is the plan.
The man. That's a great train to be on.
We have. That's what our plan is, and
just in the perfect time of year where you don't know if it's going to be cold or hot. So,
Right. You pack for everything. You don't know what to expect.
So yeah, that is where we're headed. We got to see Oakland Coliseum before it closed, so we went Labor Day and did that. So
nice.
And so it was, that's the plan.
Moment of silence for
Yeah.
Now, now just the athletics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and looking to build a home in Vegas. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But that sounds like an amazing trip, though.
The Sacra-Vegas A's.
The Sacra-Vegas.
The sacrilegious
by way of
Sacra-Vegas,
Oakland.
But after going to the stadium and seeing the surrounding neighborhoods, though, I could see why they wanted out of that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, we've heard that from Raiders fans that we know that have gone to the games there, and it's like,
and if Raiders fans don't want to be in that area,
there's a problem.
They used to call that the black hole or something like that.
For good reason.
The stadium in disrepair, and
Well, actually, the viewing at the Oakland Coliseum was as good as I didn't have a problem with the stadium. It felt like baseball. Like there wasn't any bells and whistles. You were there, but I'm a baseball fan. I mean, some people want to be entertained while they're there. I'm entertained by baseball.
It was like watching the football in the dirt. You know,
yeah.
I don't care that their arms are bleeding and they have.
Oh, sure. It doesn't bother you.
Doesn't bother me.
They're making enough money. They can afford to be bleeding. Rub some dirt in it.
Yeah, that's
literally
good dirt.
they did.
That's good dirt.
That is good dirt down there. All right, Lee, we appreciate you being on again for a return guest on our episode. And guys, again, if you want to check out this episode, you're checking it out, I hope, right now, or other episodes
you can
of Bytes,
recheck
Bytes
out
Banter,
this episode.
Recheck it out. Listen to it again. Download it wherever you get your podcasts. For today's episode, I'm Bob Dahlstrom with my co-host, Ralph Score. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.